Cook's final thoughts on a game-changing day that he says would have made his mentor beam. You told me you began designing and developing this watch after Steve Jobs died. Do you think he'd be smiling at what you announced today?
I think of him every day, and I miss him dearly. But today, I think he's smiling.
Hello, and welcome to the Cultcast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Jeffrey Elijah. Joining me today, a band of merry men. He's the Little John to my Robin Hood. Buster Heine's here.
Hey, man.
Hey. And of course, no Sherwood Forest would be complete without the lovely Maid Marian, a.k.a. Alex E. Heath.
Hello.
No.
That was accurate. You're a man of many voices, Alex.
Yeah, I tried.
Your female is spot on. We got a great show planned for you guys this week. So, as you probably know, we have a big Apple event coming up Monday, the Spring Forward event. Such a cheeky name, don't you guys think? So cheeky.
Yeah, it's so punny.
It's so punny. That's right. It's a good word. I like that. So we're going to be talking about everything we expect. We're, of course, expecting the Apple Watch, but if we're going to see anything else there, and then we're going to go through and talk about some of the things that we actually know or think we know about the Apple Watch and kind of go through things that we've probably talked about in past shows, but sum it up very succinctly. Well, maybe not succinctly, but all in one place, so you guys kind of know what to expect on Monday. Also, I'm curious. I thought it'd be fun to do like little price guessing game, guys, so we can guess prices on the 3 different models, and then we'll come Monday, we'll see who's actually right. I know I've asked you guys this before, but I think it bears repeating. Are you guys planning on actually buying the Apple Watch, Alex?
Oh, for sure.
Are you going to go for the gold? Because it's going to be like $7,000.
Yeah, I'm thinking the gold with all the bands, so it's going to come out to like $50K. It was like for me, it was like get a new car or get an Apple Watch, and I think Apple Watch is more
functional.
I think you made the right choice there. Yeah. How could a car possibly be more functional than an Apple Watch? Buster, what about you?
Yeah, I'm obligated for work to buy one, so I will.
A true Apple fan, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, that's just, the reality of it. I don't really, to do my job, I have to try the Apple Watch.
Actually, I feel the exact same way.
I don't know if I'd really recommend people buying it first gen, but whatever.
I know it's going to be one of those classic first gen Apple products like the original iPhone that is probably going to be pretty limited, V1. Yeah. But we all kind of have to have one.
But it's going to be,
about it.
You're going to be able to say like, oh, I own the first Apple Watch.
Yeah, I own
in
the
like
first.
10 years when everybody has one.
Like,
I remember how sucky it was.
See, but I don't ever say that with like the first iPhone. Like,
yeah, I was just gonna say I don't know how much value that has.
Even though like I bought the first iPhone on day one, like yeah. People are like, who cares?
It doesn't make you any cooler to anyone, I don't think. You're like, I went out and spent a bunch of money on this product that most people generally agreed wasn't super functional.
They're like, oh.
Yeah. I should probably mention real fast, you guys might hear Alex kind of dipping in and out. He seems to be having some internet issues because in Kentucky they're having like Blizzard Watch 2015. Alex, how many feet of snow do you have?
Snowpocalypse.
Isn't this like the 5th snowpocalypse of the year though?
Yeah. No, it's the second. It's the second like official snowpocalypse.
It's like the third time in a row that I feel like we've had a Cultcast with you in the middle of a blizzard though.
Yeah, it seems to happen pretty regularly, and it's almost spring.
I know, it's terrible.
Okay, well, before we jump into all the show goodness, I do want to say thank you to Lynda for supporting this episode. Lynda.com, Lynda.com. You know what I love about Lynda, guys, is I'm going to be a little hokey here for a minute. I think that one of the best feelings in the world is growth. Just getting better at something. You know that feeling that you get? You guys thought I was you guys thought I was going to go a totally different direction, didn't you?
Yeah, growth does feel good.
You guys thought I was going to talk about buns. I think getting good at something that you struggle with is one of the best things in the world. And that's one of the things I love about Lynda. It's like, you start with something like an application like Photoshop and you're looking at it and you have absolutely no idea what you're doing. And then by a certain point, you kind of have a good feeling for how everything works, and you're actually being productive in this tool that you didn't know before. Lynda.com has over 3,000 high quality video courses for you to choose from that will help you get better at business, at UX, at Photoshop, at photography. They don't just teach applications. They have a whole plethora of apps or of lessons that don't just teach you about apps, but teach you about general course topics like business, photography, those types of things. I did an interview with one of their instructors, Scott Hirsch, and I call him a Lynda instructor, but he's so much more than that. He teaches at New York University, and he is an absolute audio pro. He's done movie editing, sound editing for music. You name it. He knows all these applications like Logic, Reason, Pro Tools, inside and out. He knows everything about them. I did an interview with him a little while ago, and I didn't get to broadcast it, so I'll be broadcasting that at the end of this show. And if you're interested in Logic, if you're interested in Reason, if you're interested in creating sounds for synth, like those little synth apps that you can get on the iPhone or on the iPad or on your Mac to create cool digital sounds, stay tuned for it. It's about 20 minutes long. And Scott goes over his preference of Logic Pro versus Pro Tools, when you would use each and why audio professionals prefer each one or the other. And he talks about a whole lot more than that. I learned quite a few things, and hopefully you will too. So stay tuned till the end for my interview with Scott Hirsch. And also go check out lynda.com, lynda.com/cultcast, where you can start your own 10-day free trial, which gives you complete access to Lynda's entire catalog. You can learn all you want for free for 10 days. You can access their courses on your iPhone, on your Mac, whatever device you have, on your Android device, and you can get your learn on. And if you are interested in any of Scott's courses, because we'll cover some of the ones that he teaches in my interview with him, you can actually just start your free trial and start learning from those courses right away. So I want to thank Lynda for supporting this episode. lynda.com/cultcast. Before we talk about the Spring Forward event, guys, I think it's interesting to mention Apple officially wants to be recognized as a car maker. I thought this was very interesting.
I did it too, but then somebody told me it's really not a big deal because they've also done things for like home stuff as well. But basically, their lawyers in Zurich, they had the corporate description expanded so that it includes vehicles as well. So in the future, with the iCar.
You mean the Apple Car?
Apple Car,
since
the
they
iCar,
seem to be moving away from the moniker, the iMoniker.
The Johnny Car.
I think they should call it the Johnny Car.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like Johnny Cab from Total Recall. So I also thought it was cool that this new, I don't even know what to call it, this new function of the company is not just able to create cars. They can also build ships and aircraft, anti-theft devices, bicycles, golf carts, wheelchairs, the Apple wheelchair. Imagine how cool that would be. Motorcycles.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
An Apple motorcycle?
The Apple Segway.
That would be
Steve
fantastic.
Wozniak would have an Apple Segway.
I think I'm pretty excited about the Apple golf cart idea too. That seems like something that Apple needs to get into for all those golf enthusiasts out there. So, interesting development. Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden, Apple is not just making computers and phones and stuff, but they have officially designated themselves as a company that could build vehicles. This may mean something, it may mean nothing, but it's certainly interesting nonetheless.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's move on to the meat and potatoes of the episode. No more dilly-dallying. Let's talk about the March 9th Apple Spring Forward event.
Oh, snap.
Here it is. My question to you, Buster. Apple said that they're going to be broadcasting the stream live.
Yeah.
What language do you think we'll get to enjoy it in?
I'm going to guess Ethiopian this time.
Do they do Ethiopian?
I don't know, but it possibly, maybe.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I was thinking it's going to be maybe Mandarin. Perhaps.
Mandarin was, that was last time, and it was okay, but I just feel like they should go with a different language.
Maybe German this time.
That would be pretty cool.
One
Or
thing
French.
that's almost certain is we will not see it in English. It's not gonna be Phil Schiller's voice that we hear. It's gonna be some interpreter.
Or if you do get it, it'll break up and everything the entire time.
Oh man, I really hope they get this one right. Historically speaking, you guys probably all know Apple always seems to struggle really badly with these live streams. I don't understand in today's day and age with Amazon and with Microsoft, like Azure services, all these like huge cloud services that Apple uses, why they're having such a hard time doing digital streaming.
I imagine that every time the demand is way more than they expect. That's my guess. Well, I don't know. The language thing was just somebody on the back end.
Well, I think what happened is the English stream went to crap. And so they're like, okay, quick, we got to do something before Tim Cook realizes what's going on and comes back here and pimp slaps us all. So they just diverted to the Asian feed or to the Chinese feed because they needed to have something up, right? They can't just leave it blank.
Do you have any truck schedule?
Oh, that's right. They had that truck schedule, like that scene that you would see on TV when a station wasn't broadcasting. Yeah, exactly. Do you think that the stream's actually going to work this year?
Let's hope so. I mean, possibly.
Possibly.
I'll give it 70% odds of working well.
I'm going to give it 60. It's a 60-40 chance of perhaps it might be working. So they added the link to Apple's homepage 9 a.m. Or does the event start at 10 a.m. on Monday or 9? It's
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Yeah.
So go there, click on the link. I'm sure they'll have it front and center. Yeah, and you too could sit there frustrated as we all try to watch this thing live.
Can't wait.
And you guys are covering it live, right?
Yeah, we'll be live debugging that stuff.
Oh, Alex is back. Welcome back, Alex. I spoke too soon. Alex, are you there?
Here.
Okay, good. We can hear you.
But Buster's right. We're going to have the best live blog.
The absolute best. Well, let me ask you guys this then. What happens if the stream goes down? How do you guys cover it?
We got sources inside the center.
Yeah, and we make it up too.
Yeah.
You just make stuff up completely?
The gold Apple edition will be priced at $50,000. And I bet nobody will even,
bat an eye?
Yeah.
As long as we're talking about the 3 different editions. So we obviously expect the Apple Watch. It's going to come in 3 editions. The Sport, the Apple Watch, which has the steel band, and then the Gold edition. We know the Sport's $350. I'm gonna be buying my Sport edition with the white band for $350. But
you already got that.
That's the one I'm
out,
going for. Yeah, I'm not gonna spend more than that. I mean, to me, it doesn't make any sense.
What about the space gray finish instead of the regular aluminum finish? Did you pay attention?
That's a possibility.
Dude, I'm doing space gray.
I think I might too.
Wait, are you talking about the band color or the actual?
The actual watch. The Sport comes in a stainless steel or an aluminum finish and a space gray finish, so blacker, darker finish.
Get that with
the black band. It's murdered out.
Sinister. That's what Batman's gonna wear.
I'm gonna rock that.
Alex will be back.
That Blizzard, man. Yeah, Blizzard hurts.
I'm kind of into the whole white thing, like the white band thing, and I really like the white iPhone. I tried the black one this time just to kind of try it, but I think I might go back to white next time. I just like the way it looks with the silver against it, so I might do that one. But how much do you think the steel edition is going to cost, or just the Apple Watch edition?
$1,000.
You think it's going to be $1,000? I think it's going to be $1,100.
Why $1,100?
Because I think that I think back to that John Guru piece where he was talking about how the actual band itself was incredibly labor intensive to build. So I think it's going to cost at least $1,000, but I don't. For whatever reason, I just get the impression that Apple's going to try and price it a little bit higher because it has the premium band. Yeah.
Well, I think we should probably talk about the different way that I think it will be sold, because I think that the way you'll buy it will be like you'll get the Apple Watch and then you'll have like your choice of band, which depending on which type of band you pair with that watch, it'll raise the price up.
You have a good point, but doesn't the steel edition have? I'm calling the Apple Watch edition. That's the regular Apple Watch,
stainless
the stainless
steel
edition. It has a stainless steel body though.
Yeah.
So that one, I mean, you might be able to get different bands, but I think it's going to be a base price for the steel band and then the steel edition watch.
See, I guess that's the thing. I don't know if it'll come with that steel band. I guess it probably will, or the Link one. But I think you're gonna have the choice between, do you want like the stainless steel band or the Milanese loop or all that, the leather
loop.
Leather loop.
I don't even know, what is a Milanese loop. I don't even know what that is.
The Milanese loop is like, I think that's the one that you're thinking about, the one that it required tons of extra work. It's the one that has all the little stainless steel rings interlocked together. That's the Milanese
it's like the chainmail.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think this stainless steel Apple Watch will cost between $500 to $700.
No way.
No way. I think that's too low.
And the bands, depending on the.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, Buster, is I didn't even know he was there. I thought he was gone.
either.
And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden he just chimes in. Like he's been listening the whole time. A creeper.
I have been.
Oh, yeah.
I keep thinking your internet shuts off.
Yeah, I keep thinking that you got booted. I mean, it says you're still here. Alex, quick, get your point in before your blizzard takes away your internet.
I think the stainless steel watch will start at $500 to $700, and I think like the Milanese loop band could cost an upwards of $1,000.
Okay.
And
so I guess this
Yeah.
is my question. So, do you think Apple will sell like just the Apple Watch case itself, and that you're saying that just the stainless steel 38 millimeter Apple Watch case will cost $500 to $700 base?
yeah, I wouldn't
and then
be
you
surprised.
add a band onto that, and that's going to
Yeah,
bump
I
it
wouldn't be
over.
surprised. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Sport comes with a Sport band, just
Yeah,
because they're like cheapest. And then for the other models, I think you're.
yeah.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, that's the big thing is how Apple's going to sell it, because you don't sell it just like an iPhone, because there's so much customization just when you purchase it that I don't know if everything's going to be ready right in the box. You know,
I
think
kinda
you're gonna
wonder-
buy the case, the Sport, the Apple Watch or the Apple Watch Edition or the Apple Watch Sport case, which is just a little block, and then separately you're going to get the bands with them.
Okay,
But maybe
so let's talk about the gold one before we move into how this thing is actually going to be sold, which I think is an interesting topic in and of itself. So the gold edition, Buster, what do you think?
Yeah. How much it'll be?
Yeah,
I'm
how
gonna
much are they going to charge? Just like the base level one. You
Base model, like base 5,000.
think it's going to be 5? Okay. I think it's
least.
probably going to be 4.
Okay.
Is Alex with us
No.
still?
I think because the New Yorker piece on Johnny Ive meant
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And it mentioned that.
Ooh, excellent point.
yeah. So because the Mac Pro.
Alrighty, we're back. Sorry about the audio quality issue. Alex is got 3 or 4 feet of snow at his house and gale force winds. It's like that scene in The Day After Tomorrow where
with
everyone
the
gets
polar
frozen.
vortex.
Polar vortex reaches down and freezes everyone instantly. So Alex is covered in aluminum foil and newspapers, trying to keep warm. But apparently,
Burning books.
he's burning books and his own human excrement, whatever he can to keep warm. So Buster and you and I always have perfect internet connections.
Dude, it's because we live in civilized places,
Civilized
not
places.
Kentucky.
Exactly. That must be why. But Leander lives in San Francisco, and he always seems to be having a room.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, so Buster and I are just going to keep manpowering through this. So Buster, we were talking about the gold edition watch. You think it's going to be 5. I think it's going to be 4. I don't know what Alex was saying, but I'm guessing
He thinks it's not.
he thinks it's going to be a lot more
He's going to
expensive.
think it's going to be plus or minus 4,000. I don't know.
We know that he wasn't going to agree with either of our positions. It could have been a lot higher or a lot lower. I think that the gold edition is going to be interesting. I think that there's going to be a base model that Apple's going to sell at the Apple Store.
Right.
And then there's going to be the models that are only available through exclusive retailers. So if you go to Cartier, for example, they're going to sell an edition of the Edition watch that is exclusive to them, that they have helped design in some way. And those are the ones that are going to be mega expensive, because I don't think that Apple can sell the Cartier edition, via the Apple Store or the online store. They have to sell it through that retailer.
Well, what they're
exclusively.
planning to do is, I don't think they're going to do it like that with Cartier and have it put the Cartier brand right next to like the Apple brand, because then that devalues the Apple brand for the luxury. But what they're doing is they're doing pop-up shops at like super fancy stores in London and France and stuff like that, outside of Apple's retail locations.
That makes
But
sense.
But you won't be able to, go to Best Buy and buy a gold Apple Watch. That's for sure.
The Best Buy edition. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to do that. And I think they're going to be, this wouldn't surprise me, I think they're going to be made in limited quantities. So you'll have Cartier or, whomever create a limited edition watch that they may only sell, 500 or 1,000 of, but they'll be insanely expensive. How does that sound to you?
I don't think they're going to do any like Cartier or Gucci. I think that they'll be limited just because not a lot of people are going to want to drop $50,000 on an expensive Apple Watch.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do because like Birkin, like they do that kind of stuff too. Like, oh, there's only 500s of these ostrich bags, So I think that could be one way that they kind of push it to fashionistas, make it limited.
They're going to have to make it limited in some way. I mean, that's kind of the nature of the fashion business, right? As everything is made in limited runs. But if you're going to charge, and this has always been my position, if you're going to charge top dollar for a product that functionally is exactly the same as a product that you could get for $350, I mean, the Edition watch, if they charged $5,000 for it, functionally it's exactly the same as the sport model, right?
Yeah, but it's not about function. It's
Exactly.
about fashion.
Exactly. So they're going to have to be very exclusive and very limited. And that way you can get people to kind of be like, oh gosh, I have to get this now. Otherwise it's going to be sold out.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just the one percenters who got money to burn. Like $20,000 on an Apple Watch is nothing because they spent $50,000 on a Cartier watch.
Right.
And they wear that one 4 times a month, and that's it. So I don't think like people saying like I don't know where Apple's gonna find all these sales. Like there's definitely hundreds of thousands of people out there in the U.S. alone that are spending ridiculous amounts of money on fashion items for no reason.
Yeah, it's just going to be a matter of getting into the retailers where these customers shop.
And like just earning like that mind share, I think, with like the fashion community, that Apple Watch is on that same level as a Cartier watch as far as like, yeah, it's really expensive and like it's a status symbol type thing,
Okay, so we talked about the different editions. We talked about the pricing. It'll be interesting to see what Apple actually does. When do you think it'll be available to actually buy? So, pre-orders, and then when is it going to ship?
Well, if the event's coming up soon, then I mean, pre-orders must be around the corner, and then shipping, I'm saying the beginning of April. If Tim Cook said they're going to ship in April, it sounds like they're going to ship at the beginning of April.
I think that you're probably right. I think we're going to see pre-orders. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're going to start accepting pre-orders right away.
No way.
You don't think so? And if they don't
do it right
away,
Friday.
Okay.
It'll be Friday.
That was going to be my next guess. I was going to hedge my bet here. So it's going to be available right away, or it's going to be available Friday and then it'll ship
2 weeks from that, and then the release would be like 2 weeks from that Friday, possibly. Which that would be in March still, I think.
It might be the end of March, when people actually start getting the shipment notifications.
Yeah.
Let's talk about apps for a moment. This is one of those things, I was actually reading a while ago that Apple had a lot more planned for the Apple Watch, and they had all these experts that we've talked about before working on this plethora of sensors, and the Apple Watch was going to be a lot more than it actually is turning out to be, because they just couldn't get everything to work as well as they had hoped in time to ship this device. So with that said, the Apple Watch, I'm kind of expecting a more limited experience than what we've talked about, in the last 12 months. It's going to be essentially a fitness tracking device, and you'll have to charge it every night. Tim Cook said recently that you'll actually be able to wear it in the shower, so that makes me think that it must be waterproof, or it's a brilliant move by Tim Cook.
Yeah, take that into the shower.
just totally sparks and fizzles. You have to go buy another one.
Oh, sorry, the warranty doesn't cover that.
The warranty doesn't cover that. I'm sorry. Did you take that into the shower? Why would you do that? And the apps are going to be limited. They're going to be interactions essentially between apps that you already have on your phone brought to the Apple Watch. Could you speak a little bit more about that, Buster?
So I've thought about the apps will be limited. They're not going to be native on the Apple Watch to start out with, at least not the third-party ones.
And by that, you mean that the Apple Watch isn't actually running the apps itself, right?
Right. They're all on their phone. So your phone is basically going to become like the pocket inside your computer. And your Apple Watch apps, I think the main function of them should be so that you don't have to pull your phone out of your pocket every 3 minutes, because that's like probably my worst habit is anytime I'm just, I have nothing to do, I pull out my phone and run through everything and check notifications and stuff.
Right. I do that too.
So I think,
especially when I'm in awkward situations.
Yeah. I think Apple Watch will kind of all of your simple notifications are pushed to your Apple Watch. So you're kind of using your phone a little bit less. Hopefully in the future, Apple adds like new sensors to the Apple Watch, and it will definitely add like third-party apps native eventually. But for now, I don't know.
Yeah, for now, it just kind of seems like
that's it.
Yeah, it really doesn't seem like it's going to do a whole lot. I'm very curious to see what other information they reveal on stage on Monday, because they have an entire. How long is this event going to be? They never actually really tell us, but probably like an hour.
Probably
an
hour and a half.
Hour and a half. And we're going to talk about in a little bit if we expect any other products to be announced. But let's just say they don't announce any other products, and this is just going to be just the Apple Watch. They're going to spend 90 minutes talking about the Apple Watch. I mean, it's got to be doing a whole lot of things that we don't know about.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, you still don't want to have like apps that are like intensive on the Apple Watch, because you don't want to be like fiddling around on your Apple Watch screen for more than like 10 seconds. I don't think you want to raise that up. So I think a lot of like what the Apple Watch, the main thing is like just having wearable sensors with you all the time, and then having cool stuff to do over on your iPhone with that data as well. Like the fitness aspect, Tim Cook has hit on quite a bit, and that seems to be like a big thing is, having like a fitness tracker on you all the time can really change like your fitness levels and your health and stuff.
Especially because one of the features they've talked about quite often is the watch is going to urge you to stand more often or move more often so that you're not sitting so much. And just having those gentle cues, I think, really make a huge difference. In fact, we've had Automatic sponsor the show a ton, and I have an Automatic in my car, and just the little cues that it gives you kind of bring to your attention that you're doing something that you don't know you're doing, I think can drastically affect your day-to-day life, because it just makes you aware of what you're doing, So I think that's going to be a major piece of the Apple Watch, is that, I've been sitting for too long, I need to get up, because most people don't even realize they've been doing that. Battery life, I'm going to say a day, and by a day I mean if you use it sparingly, you might be able to make it to the night without charging it.
See, I used to be like, oh man, if it doesn't have full day battery life, that's so lame. But at the same time, I don't wear a watch like 24/7 through the day. When I do have a watch, they're usually like put on, during like special occasions sometimes, like, I'm going to go out. Like if I'm lounging around the house, I'm not really going to be wearing one around. So I don't know if the battery life is really that big of an issue.
I don't know if it's going to be that big of an issue either, especially since the interactions have been designed to be brief. So you're not supposed to be, and I think Apple did this intentionally, right? They don't want you draining the battery.
Yeah, you're not going to be spending an hour and a half on your Apple Watch straight.
No, it's supposed to give you quick glimpses into things that are important, like text messages that you might want to see, initiating Apple Pay transactions, that type of thing. I definitely want to talk about a few other things regarding the Apple Watch. So Tim Cook said it will eventually replace your car keys, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah,
and I've talked about that before.
How many times have you lost your car keys?
Oh my gosh! Or just the annoyance of having to get them out of your pocket. And the Apple Watch is also supposed to have a power reserve mode. We'll talk about that. And then if we have time, Buster's going to talk about the public beta of the Photos app in iOS 10.10.3, because Buster has actually used it. And we're going to have him talk about this on a previous show. This is the app that's going to replace Aperture and iPhoto on your Mac, but it's in beta now, so if you want to try it, we'll be talking about that. Before we continue, though, I want to thank Audible for supporting this episode. Audible is great. One of the things I love most in my life, Buster, besides beards, is audiobooks and audio entertainment. And Audible has over 150,000 audio titles for you to choose from in every category imaginable. And if you like mystery, if you like romance, if you are one of the like 5% of people that actually like nonfiction, they have a huge breadth. Did I say that word right? Breadth of titles that you can choose from. I listen to audiobooks all the time whenever I'm working out, whenever I'm doing something maybe like that doesn't require any mind cycles like cleaning or something. I always have an audiobook going. And Audible is the best place to get your audiobooks from. And when you go to audiblepodcast.com/cultcast, you get a 30-day free trial and a free audiobook of your choice. So let me pimp 2 audiobooks that I think are very worthwhile and certainly for free. The first is our own El Caney's Johnny Ive, the genius behind Apple's greatest products. If you haven't read this book yet, Horace Didu, who is a very popular Apple analyst, said it was the best Apple book that he has ever read. So you have that recommendation. It's rated very highly on Amazon. And, now since Leander isn't here, I can say this without fluffing his ego. I think Leander is a great writer. Every time I read a piece by him, I thoroughly enjoy it. He writes the way he speaks, so it's very conversational. And he is very good at explaining things in a general way so that people can understand them. So that's my first recommendation is Johnny Ive, the genius behind Apple's greatest products. And then the other one is a book by Tony Robbins, which I've talked about before, called Money, Master the Game.
Money, Master the Game by Tony Robbins.
This book sounds hokey. I will fully give it to you that it sounds really kind of hokey. This is one of the best books that I've read in the last, I'd say, 5 years. It's outstanding. And it's all about the truth of investing your money and how to do it without getting torn a new bung in fees, right? Because what most people don't know, and the book goes through all of this step by step, and it's explained very, very well, is that investing is tough. And what most people don't know is the mutual fund market, the stuff that you buy through your job, the 401k market, all the stuff that you get, generally speaking, is really terrible. And the fees that you pay are built in systematically to rip you off without you even knowing it. And so this book goes through and talks about how to invest your money wisely without paying a bunch of fees, how the pros invest their actual money and not just other people's money. And Tony Robbins interviews a bunch of the top investors in the world. All these guys are like billionaires, including Carl Icahn. He had a long interview with Carl Icahn, and it's a fascinating book. It's a very good book for laymen. If you don't know very much about financing, as I did not, this book, it's long. It's about 600 pages, the actual book is. The audiobook is 21 hours, but I listened to the entire thing in a week, which means I was listening to like 2.5 hours a day. It was that good. So if you're interested in investing, if you have a 401k, if you're interested in mutual funds, definitely go check out Money, Master the Game by Tony Robbins. It's on Audible. And you can get either of these books 100% free with a 30-day free trial at audiblepodcast.com/cultcast. I want to thank Audible for supporting this episode. Okay, Buster, where were we headed? Oh, my goodness. So Tim Cook recently said that Apple Watch will eventually replace your car keys.
Yeah.
This is where I think we're headed. Like, you know what one of my professors in college said, do you know what aliens would find in 1,000 years if we all died today? And they came in 1,000 years and they were searching for clues to who we were. The thing that they would find the most?
Cars?
Keys.
Keys?
They would find keys. Everyone has like 20 keys, right? 10, 20 keys. And no one likes using keys. I hate using keys, especially if your car is older. You stick a key in the door and it doesn't churn very well. How amazing would it be to just have a watch on your wrist and everywhere you go, because it's monitoring your biological functions, it knows it's you, and you can just get into your house, you can get into your car, you can get into your office. That's the future that we're headed towards, Buster.
That's pretty nice.
Tim Cook talked a little bit about how it was going to be used or how the Apple Watch could help you get into your car, which I wouldn't be surprised if that was a bullet point on the Apple Car checklist of features.
Oh, definitely.
I think that that's definitely going to be built in. I think it would be incredible to replace your keys, and not only replace your keys, but to replace your credit cards, which I don't know about you, but I haven't really gotten to use Apple Pay very much in the last year. Have you, Buster?
Yeah, I use it whenever I go to McDonald's, which is very rare. So twice. And that's about it. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I haven't used it very much either. I use it to buy some licorice at Walmart the other month, and that's about it. But once Apple Pay does become more ubiquitous, we're going to start seeing it everywhere. And how cool would it be to just scan your wrist on something and then just have it charge your card accordingly?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that because I find that Apple Pay is supported in a lot of gas stations that I go to.
Yeah.
But I always leave my phone in my car, and so with the Apple Watch, I will have it on my wrist all the time, and it'll just click.
Ultimate laziness, which is what we like. If you're concerned about battery life, so Tim Cook did say the Apple Watch was going to get about a whole day of battery life, but if you get stranded and your iWatch is dying because you've been playing around with it too much, especially when you first get it, this will probably happen to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. According to the New York Times, the Apple Watch will actually have a special battery saving feature that will essentially turn into a basic timepiece. So it just kind of puts it into dumb mode, I guess.
Yeah, so it'll just display the time, and that's it.
Which is probably all it'll be able to do anyway if you don't have an iPhone.
Not even that.
You won't even be able to set the time. We talked about this on past shows. Buster, I kind of forget where you fall on this, but do you think it's going to be a useful product without an iPhone or an iPad or a Mac?
Okay, well, I think that this is... Well, yeah, it is. Because the thing... I mean, you're not going to buy one if you don't already have an iPhone.
I don't know. You might.
No, you're not.
If it's a fashion item.
No, you're not. But it's an iPhone accessory. I feel like that's been very, very clear the entire time. In fact, Tim Cook has said that they hope that the Apple Watch will actually increase iPhone sales because you need an iPhone 5 or greater. So if somebody comes in with an iPhone 4 or 4S and they want an Apple Watch, they're going to have to upgrade their iPhone as well.
Who that has an iPhone 4S is going to want an Apple Watch? Who is that person?
Oh, dude, like my mom. Like I know lots of people who are like, very into tech, but slow to upgrade their phones because you really don't need to upgrade your iPhone every year.
That's hilarious because all the people that I know that have iPhone 4s, iPhone 4Ss are the people that have absolutely no idea what's going on in the world of technology. They couldn't care less. They're very low-tech people, and I can't imagine them being interested in the Apple Watch.
Well, the iPhone 4S, it's only 2.5 years old.
No, is it?
Yeah, we're on the 6th. We had the 5S and the 5, and then there's the 4S, so...
Wow. It's hard to believe that it wasn't longer ago than that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the event not having to do with Apple Watch. Are we expecting any other products?
The wild card is the 12-inch Retina MacBook Air.
Okay.
That supposedly is going to be launching in Q2, according to the Wall Street Journal. So that's enough time for Apple to announce it at the event and then, get it shipping out. So that's, I think, the only possible other hardware that we might see there.
So you don't think that we're going to see the iPad Pro?
No, that's
an updated
already,
Apple TV.
The iPad Pro has officially been delayed until September, and the Apple TV is probably never coming. Even like an update to the hockey puck Apple TV is never coming.
That hasn't been updated in what, 2 years?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And the MacBook Air, it's been about a year now.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I don't think they're going to start announcing a bunch of new hardware at this event.
Yeah, I think they'll probably save that till WWDC, and they'll announce. If they don't, they'll announce like new MacBook Airs for the 11 and 13 inch and MacBook Pros and stuff. Which I actually need a new MacBook Pro, so that's what I'm waiting for.
Did your friend sit on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the spring or the event is called Spring Ahead. Spring Forward.
Spring Forward.
I don't think that we're going to get very much besides the Apple Watch. In fact, I kind of expect them to just talk about Apple Watch and that's it. If anything, we might see some soft releases. So Apple might update the MacBook Air on their website with just like a spec bump, but not really talk about it, Yeah. So that might be it as far as that goes. Okay, so we're not really expecting any more hardware aside from that. It's going to be all Apple Watch, all event long. Tim Cook's going to be on stage, raising his hands in the air and pumping his fists in the air, which is going to be great for me because I could use a new Tim Cook gif. Let's go ahead and talk about the Photos app, Buster, before we wrap it up. So Photos app, we've been talking about it for several months. It's replacing iPhoto on your Mac, which I'm happy about because I've never really been a huge fan of iPhoto. Oh. And Aperture, which was Apple's actually really, really nice professional photo editing application. It had some problems, but for the most part, it was brilliant to use. The UI was incredible. The workflows were incredible, but they've retired Aperture, as many of you know. This is going to be taking the place of that. So Apple has released a public beta that you can actually download. Buster, how are you liking using the Photos app so far?
I haven't switched over to using it dedicated, like full time yet. It's still beta, but it's way better than iPhoto. That's for sure. Okay. Like I think the biggest thing is actually iCloud photo library, so that, you know, everything's stored in the cloud, and it optimizes storage for your Mac. So like I have a MacBook Air and it's 128 gigs. So I'm always fighting for storage. And so now you can have like your photo library on your Mac, and whenever you need more space, it just smartly deletes like the original files that are on your Mac, and then they're already in iCloud, and it'll just get them again whenever you have more space. So that's really cool. And because it does that, it can like sync your edits from like your iPhone and your Mac too on images. So that's pretty sweet too.
So that is cool. So now your photos will stay synced across all your devices, and your edits will too. As far as storage space goes, I've always found this iCloud storage space thing to be confusing. I know they give everyone 5 gigs. So are you going to be chewing through that faster now that all of your photos are stored? Okay, so you are. And
I upgraded. Yeah.
Aha, you did upgrade.
I think it's a good sell though. I think like the iCloud buying storage I finally boosted up to, I think, 200 gigabytes.
Which is what, like $4 a month?
I think it's $2.99 a month or so.
Whoa, that is super. That's really inexpensive, actually.
It's like, it's not too bad, you know, and it's probably cheaper than going out and buying an external hard drive. So
yeah, it's certainly not. That's certainly not convenient either.
Yeah.
So as far as the photo app goes, I mean, does it use, or does it have as many features as iPhoto did? Because iPhoto had a lot of advanced features. I kind of feel like this might be a dumbed down version.
It's cleaner, so it kind of looks like, it doesn't have as many features, but it has, I think, better filters. You can edit the pictures a little bit quicker, and pictures are actually the focus of the app. Like, you know, they changed the UI so that there's more space, so like your pictures are bigger, so that's really what you're focusing on. And it just like feels quicker. Like it used to be, if you have a big library in iPhoto and you're trying to scroll past like 100 photos, you're going to get like the, the beach ball in just seconds. Oh, yeah. But now like with the new Photos app, it's just fine. Like I'm scrolling through like 2,000 pictures and it's nothing.
Oh, I think one of the really cool features that you mentioned already is the fact that you could boot this thing up, edit something, boot up a photo on your iPad, edit it with your hands. Because I like editing photos with my hands, and then have those edits come back down to your Mac.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to use Aperture?
You know, I never did. Okay. I haven't really, I've never gotten into any too advanced photo apps. Aperture,
I just can't imagine that this Photos app is going to be nearly as powerful as Aperture was.
Yeah, I think Apple's definitely not even trying to replace Aperture mostly. Yeah. I think they basically want Aperture users to go use Lightroom instead.
Which is fine. I like Lightroom a lot, Adobe Lightroom, but it kind of sucks that there's no good competitor to Adobe's Lightroom now.
Yeah.
Which I always kind of like competition. I'm sure that Adobe will continue to improve Lightroom and make it a better and better product, but without any competition, it could cause a situation where that product doesn't get as updated, doesn't get updated as often as I would like to see it updated, and may not get really cool advanced features that it might have otherwise gotten if Apple was coming out with cool stuff all the time too, and Lightroom had to compete,
Yeah.
But then again, Photos is free.
Yep.
And Aperture was what, $200?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How much is Lightroom? It's not cheap either.
Well, now Lightroom is part of Creative Cloud.
Oh,
so
okay.
you
get a
can't. I don't even
subscription.
think you can buy it. Yeah, I think they were selling a subscription. It's been a while since I've checked, so this could be totally off. But I think they were selling a subscription to Lightroom and Photoshop for $10 a month for a while, which was a really great deal. I don't know if they're still doing that, but now if you want to have access to Adobe's entire suite, I think it's like $50 a month, which is
Dang.
kind of a lot for if you just need to use like several of the apps.
Well, I mean, this is tangentially related, but how do you feel about like all those subscription? Because Microsoft today announced Microsoft Office 2016 for Mac. They gave out the free preview, which you can go download, and it looks great. Like it's awesome. It's very nice, but they're also going to move it to like the Office 365 subscription model, where you pay a monthly fee to get access to Word and all those apps. Like I kind of don't like having to pay a monthly subscription for apps. I kind of hate that.
I do too. I really hate it. In fact, I don't like paying monthly subscriptions for anything, and I will do it but it makes it a tough sell for me, because if you're going to sell me a monthly subscription, whatever you're selling has to be something I really need.
Yeah.
And whereas before, as I might have bought Office because it was $130, nowadays I don't really need Office.
Right. There's so many other third-party apps that are pretty decent.
That are pretty good, right? That have a basic set of features. In fact, some friends of mine were just asking me about this. They were asking if it was worth buying Microsoft Office or just using something for free. And I was asking them what they were going to be using it for. And they basically just need Word, and they don't do anything fancy. They just need to be able to type something. So I sent them to OpenOffice, which is the free version of Microsoft Office. Essentially, it's like the open source version. And then Google Docs obviously is another good option, because now if you don't need to have a bunch of advanced features, it's like, why pay for it?
Right.
Especially when how much is Office per month? Like $7 or $8?
Oh, I have no idea. I would never buy a subscription though.
Yeah, I don't think it's built for guys like you and me. Maybe if we were in college still, then it would be a better deal for us.
You need those PowerPoints.
Yeah, exactly. I need PowerPoint so bad. My slides.
It's $5 a month. On the cheapest then, or $12.50 for a business.
$5 a month is actually not bad at all. I would.
That's
actually
not
consider,
horrible, actually.
Yeah, I would see. It's like, I guess if they're going to do it, they got to charge a low enough price to make it so that it's something that you really don't think about. Yeah. Now, as long as we're talking about subscription services, so we got some news today that HBO, the price for HBO is going to be their unbundled, service, just their web service, is going to be $15 a month. How do you feel about that?
If it's going to be $15 a month, I'm going to have to decide to cut Netflix or Hulu out of my monthly
You're paying for
subscriptions.
Hulu?
Yeah, totally, man.
Wow. I've never been a big user of Hulu. I know there are people that are, but for me, I guess the fact that I don't really watch many shows, it just hasn't really made sense for me.
Okay. Well, I'll catch the Daily Show on it, and me and my girlfriend will watch like The Mindy Project and New Girl, and just like the TV shows that like we're never around to watch together that air for free. But then we can pay a monthly subscription to watch them.
$15 a month is pretty steep, dude. I think that's borderline for me. I would consider, because you could pay $20 and get it via cable.
Yeah, but then you're paying cable too.
Well, Comcast is starting to offer a lot of subscription services that include just internet and HBO, which is the one that I have. So it's really fast internet.
Oh.
And HBO, and that's it. So, and I get access to HBO Go. So for me, they were smart about it, right? They knew what people started to want, and they're like, okay, we'll just give you the two things that you want for a decent price. And the internet isn't as fast as I would want it, but it's pretty good.
Does the HBO Go subscription come with live access to the HBO channel?
You mean the streaming service that they're talking about charging $15 for?
Well, yeah, so you could tap into like whatever HBO is broadcasting live.
No, I think it's web only. Go. Yeah, it's web only.
But you can do that on HBO now.
Yeah, so I can use both right now, but yeah, the HBO Go or the HBO streaming service is just going to be web only. But like that matters because you'll just be able to stream it on your Apple TV. In fact, we heard some news that Apple might be partnering with HBO to bring this to the Apple TV.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to watch it on your Xbox. You'll be able to watch it, on your Chromecast. There's like 100 different ways to watch HBO now.
Yeah, $15. I don't know. With Dish or Sling TV, it's $20, and you're getting like 20 channels with that. CNN, ESPN.
It doesn't include
TNT,
HBO though, right?
It doesn't, but it's got AMC, which isn't HBO, but it's catching up there now.
It's a big
like a
draw.
high quality channel,
Right.
So I don't know. I think that is kind of a little pricey. $10 and I'd be sold, but 15, yeah, I'm gonna have to look at it for a bit.
Yeah, I would do 12, I think max, without having to
Yeah.
think much about it. But then 15, I'm kind of thinking, yeah, I do love HBO's content, but how often am I going to use it?
You got to catch up on Game of Thrones, dude.
I'm working on it.
Need this.
I'm actually trying to get caught up on The Walking Dead right now.
Oh, you're not caught up on that
no,
either.
please, no spoilers. Oh my gosh, I'm watching the first half of the current season. So they took a break, right? They did 8 episodes, and they did another 8 episodes. So I'm like halfway through the first 8.
This season, those episodes, I stopped watching the show for a while, and then I came back just for this season, and they've been great. Like all of the episodes have been intense,
Yeah, they have been. So I'm going to go into spoilers. If you haven't watched The Walking Dead, skip ahead 60 seconds because I'm not going to spoil a lot, but I am going to do some spoilers right now. Full warning. Ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
So the governor story arc, I just did not like at all. Season 2. It was what I like about that show is the mystique and the suspense of what the hell is going on in this world. Everything was fine, then all of a sudden you had this zombie thing take over, and that hanging on that big question mark for me was what really draws me in, and having them explore the world and try to figure out that mystery is what I love most. So when they got to the governor, and all of a sudden they're just posted up in this town for the entire season, and it was just like a normal show, except, oh, by the way, there's zombies on the outside of this wall now.
Yeah.
That wasn't cool for me. But this season, now that they're back in the thick of it and trying to figure out what's going on, and they've got that doctor who thinks he knows how to solve the problem.
Yeah, have you gotten very far in the season?
No. Well, no.
Okay, won't spoil it.
Buster's not sure what he can say. He's like, yeah. That's always hard, right? When someone's describing a show, and if you haven't watched it in a while, and you're never really sure exactly what season they're in or when things happen. Yeah. Like every time I go watch Game of Thrones, I'm not going to spoil anything in case people are back with us. The end of season 1 of Game of Thrones, something pretty big happens, and I always think that happens in a totally different season because it doesn't seem to me like there's any way they could get to that point in 10 episodes.
Oh yeah, even reading the book, I think you're shocked at that ending.
Oh my gosh. And then there's season.
And then, of course, the 3rd season ending is even worse.
Oh my gosh. I know I've said this before. That traumatized me. I was sick at the end of that episode, and I thought about it nonstop for 2 weeks.
The Red Wedding?
Yeah. It was tough to watch. As long as we're talking about media that I couldn't stop thinking about. So I finally saw Interstellar.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you were saying that you actually didn't love it.
No, yeah, you were telling me you were at orgasmic heights on it.
Oh my, yeah. I was in pure ecstasy by the end of that movie.
I thought it was very, very pretty eye candy. I mean, it was a great movie. It was a solid movie. It was an awesome movie. I just didn't think it was amazing as Alex.
You didn't think it was top 10 like I did.
I didn't think it rivals Space Odyssey.
Space Odyssey.
The 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah, I tried to watch that movie, and I probably made it 15 minutes in, and I was so bored that I had to stop. Does it get interesting at any point?
I think you have to be on drugs, and it has to be late at night.
I was on so many drugs. It was at 2 a.m. I was on all the drugs at 2 a.m. and I still couldn't get it. Maybe that was my problem. I was on too many drugs.
Yeah, I mean...
You know that point where you just go full Barney and you just have to focus on not dying?
Yeah.
Check the show notes, by the way, for that imagery. Okay, well, Buster, should we go ahead and wrap it up?
I guess.
I kind of actually like
these all day if you want.
I think this might be my favorite part of the show. It's just the tangent where we just talk about things that we're watching. Well, hey, that's all the Cultcast we have for you guys this week. I hope you're as excited as we are to have our Apple Watches come Monday. It's going to be an exciting day. We'll, of course, be covering it on Cult Mac. And make sure you're following Buster at BST3R. I'm at Airfon. We're going to be tweeting up a mofo on that day, just covering all the things that Apple's talking about. Oh, stick around for my interview with Scott Hirsch. That is coming up next. I think you're really going to enjoy it. This has been the Cultcast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the Cultcast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to set your clocks this weekend, U.S. listeners. Springing forward.
You guys have that daylight savings time.
Got to spring forward before we spring forward. Hey, Scott.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Great. Sorry I'm a little late.
No problem.
I couldn't connect to Skype. It was making me download a new version.
Oh, bummer.
Which is always what you want to do right before you hit record.
Right, exactly.
Let's see here. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
Okay, fantastic. If you don't have any questions, we will jump right into it.
No, I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Hey guys, it's Airfon. I'm here with Scott Hirsch, a lynda.com instructor. But not only is he an instructor, he's a sound designer and an editor and a mixer for film and video, a musician, an audio engineer. He's also an adjunct professor at New York University's Music School of Technology. Did I say that right, Scott?
Yeah, it's the music technology program at NYU.
And you also teach Logic Pro. You teach Pro Tools, which I thought it was really interesting that you teach both. And you teach Reason. So you're kind of teaching all the very popular audio editing classes. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I like to keep it real. Keep all the programs going, just so I can remember all the keystrokes from all.
Yeah, that sounds like a challenge in and of itself. And I'm actually using Logic Pro X. I'm using your Logic Pro X Essentials course on lynda.com. I've been telling our listeners that I recently switched. Don't laugh. I recently switched from GarageBand to Logic Pro X because I wanted to edit like the big boys do.
Yeah.
And it helped me make the transition because that's a super complicated application.
It definitely is, but it's really cool that you can go right from GarageBand into Logic with no problems, as you probably, I mean, there's some new stuff in there, but it feels the same, which is great, I think. They have a nice path that you can kind of walk on to get from one to the other.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I was surprised how similar they were, and you really can go from one application to the other because, as I learned from you, Logic Pro X has an advanced mode that you can kind of activate to really turn on the powerful features.
That's right.
So let me ask you this. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer Logic or do you prefer Pro Tools?
I like them both, to be honest.
For different
reasons. No, seriously. I when I'm composing music, working on commercial music, or even just getting sort of a demo together, something that I need to get up and running really quickly, I use Logic because it's so fast and so easy to make a great sounding track right away. Mm-hmm. And when I'm recording a band, or a lot of times working in film and video, I use Pro Tools, and I use them both interchangeably. But really, there's different times. I like to think about applications kind of just like different instruments. Like I might play a Fender Telecaster for one song, and I might play a Gibson Les Paul for another song. And there's reasons why you would choose one over the other. And I like to choose audio apps for the same reasons. They kind of do the same thing in the end. A lot of them all have the same goal. You can record a band just as well in Logic as you can in Pro Tools. But there's certain needs and just sort of resources or even choices you might make by using one over the other, depending on what your needs are. And that's when I would choose one before the other. So I use them both.
I've heard that Logic Pro X is better for creating music and Pro Tools is better for creating audio effects, maybe editing a movie, editing a podcast. What do you say to that?
I think there's some truth in that a little bit. Although, again, like if you wanted to make music with Pro Tools, you just have to use it and get around some of the ideas of it, and you can make just as much music in Pro Tools as you can in Logic. Like ultimately, if you look at sort of the specs, they both do almost identically the same thing. There's just a slightly different way of going about it. So one, I think in Logic, it's a much faster and it's much more of a complete package, which is really cool because you buy the application, which is actually incredibly cheap for what you get. I might add, like under $200.
Yeah, how much is Pro Tools?
Well, it depends on what platform you get. It's a lot more. There's some different. It's a little more stratified, and I can't even. It changes all the time, so I'm not even going to quote a price or anything like that.
Okay.
But what you don't get with Pro Tools as much as you do with Logic is a comprehensive set of instruments and samples and other stuff. I mean, you do get some things with Pro Tools, but it just works out that just by off the starting gate with Logic, you have a very comprehensive tool to make incredible sounding music with. So for that kind of thing, for someone who just wants to make a really good sounding track right away, it's awesome. And I would say the same thing on the other side of the coin for Pro Tools is someone wanting to edit sound for a movie or just get into basic sound design. Just the functionality and the way that it can work with that kind of stuff is awesome too. So again, there's just different times, different reasons. I tell my students, learn them all. Like really, you need to have, it's like part of your toolkit as an audio professional. So
which one has better, or I should ask it this way. I've heard that Logic has much better compression than GarageBand. Is that true?
I think some of the plugins are a little bit more advanced. So I think it's funny because I don't know GarageBand as much. I've only always used Logic because when it got bought by Apple back in I guess the late '90s, it came from a totally different place. It was eMagic and Apple bought it. So originally it didn't have a relationship. GarageBand wasn't even a thing. So I sort of never had the need to go down to GarageBand in that way, but I know that there's a compressor in GarageBand, and I know you can use the same compressor in Logic. Do you mean compression like audio compression, or more like MP3 like codec compression?
Oh, audio compression.
Okay, yeah. So, but I know that in Logic there is just the kind of the standard plugin compressor that I don't think you get in GarageBand, and it's got some more advanced controls on it, basically. But yeah, I would say definitely that all the EQs and plugins, compressors and EQs and all the sort of tool-based plugins are great sounding in Logic. Again, you don't need to go outside unless you want to a third-party plugin manufacturers, unless you really want to get specialized, because it includes a lot of great sounding stuff.
Do you have any Logic Pro tips that you can share with us? Maybe things that would help someone get started, or things about the application themselves?
Yeah. Well, I just want to talk a little. I wanted to talk a little bit about just some of the awesome new stuff in Logic Pro 10 or Logic Pro X, as you call it. I don't actually, to this day, I'm not sure what's the preferred method. Logic Pro 10 or Logic Pro X, but
I'm sure either way people will be angry at us. Let's just go with your way.
I think I called it Logic Pro 10 in the lynda.com course.
Yeah,
so.
I think I'm going to switch to that actually.
But a couple things that I think are just amazing new additions from Logic Pro 9 is the drummer idea, the drummer track. And this is a really revolutionary idea. Where you can add a drummer track. It's a special kind of track. It's not a MIDI track. It's not an audio track, or an instrument track. And basically, you have a collection of virtual personalities of drummers to choose from. Which, at first, when I heard that, I was kind of like, "Oh, that sounds kind of."
It kind of sounds hokey, yeah.
A little gimmicky, a little hokey, and it's like I have enough real drummer personalities in my life. I don't need.
I don't need any virtual ones.
There's endless drummer jokes you can make with this thing, but really, it actually turns out to be really cool. And what it is these drummers, depending on who you choose, will play beats with a different feel, a different style. They also get loaded up with different kinds of drum kits, different sounding drum kits. And you basically have a vector control where you can make them play louder or more complex, depending on where you put the little dot in that vector. and it's really fun because they'll just like they kind of know instinctively when it gets to the end of a bar, they'll play a fill, and it's just a really fast way to work with something that's not a drum machine. It's like a little bit more intelligent than a drum machine because it'll kind of anticipate fills, and again by moving the little dot around in the vector, you can change sort of the how they're going about playing, and you can change that from part to section in the song. So that's an awesome thing. And one tip I wanted to talk about with the drummer is you can use these things called arrangement markers, and they're in the timeline. And before Logic Pro 10, I didn't use them as much because basically they're just a way of marking, like in your song, this is the intro, this is the verse, this is the chorus, and it's helpful to have that, but you don't need it. But now with drummer, if you do that first and then you add a drummer track, the drummer track will have these little regions that correspond to the intro, correspond to the verse, and correspond to the chorus, and it'll actually change the feel automatically of how they play during those different sections, which is awesome. Super fast and helpful way to just get something in there that you can write your song to.
My cousin's a drummer, actually, and he was blown away by what you were just talking about when it first came out. He couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's really cool. Again, like I really believe there's no substitute for a real drummer.
At least not yet.
But a lot of people, I mean, they don't have that. There's a lot of resources that have to go into that. I mean, you have to have someone's time, but if you wanted to record it, you have to have a lot of microphones, a lot of inputs, a good room where there's no neighbors around, and this is just a really fast and awesome sounding way to get something going. And maybe you hire a drummer later or work out a song this way, but I think it really inspires a lot of creativity that you might not have just on your own with less resources. So it's really cool. So then the last tip I want to talk about with the drummer track is once you get this virtual drummer's performance, you can then customize it. And the way you can do this is you can change any drummer region into just a straight MIDI region. So after they've already imposed their personal style on it, you can convert to MIDI, and you can't go, at this point, it'll just be static. Like you won't change as you move the slider around, but then you can personally then go in and, maybe you don't want like a double kick drum at this point in the song. So you can you can customize it and edit the MIDI to your liking. So you get the benefit of their kind of style. And then just like a lot of drummers, you're like, oh, why do they do that right there? But you can then go in and customize it to your own needs after they've kind of already played to it. So that is a really awesome kind of power user tip. Convert your drummer tracks to MIDI, and then you can customize them. So I love that one.
Or maybe convert your actual drummer into Logic Pro 10 drummer.
Yeah, just
get way less attitude and maybe better beats.
Like Tron, like they just all of a sudden go into the computer and then you see their face on the drummer track.
Let me ask you this. So going through Logic Pro X Essentials course, what could people expect to learn about Logic from maybe not knowing anything to going through the end of that course?
Yeah, well, my goal is to get past the initial learning curve. So by the end of the course, you'll see all of the basically all the areas that you can work in, and just how to get started, how to go through, and you'll at least be exposed to every avenue that you could take creatively. And because there's a lot of stuff in Logic, we don't go as in depth as you might want to like later. But you'll have seen everything, and you'll have a working kind of resource to begin your path. And I always say this in my courses, but the idea is like to get the fastest possible route from your creative idea to actually doing it. So that's really what you should expect. Is like now you won't be staring at the screen wondering what things are. How do I get this going? You'll have seen it and you'll know how to do it, and you can always go back. The thing I love about lynda.com is everything is closed captioned, so you can search any term. So if you just want, what drummer? Just type in drummer Logic. It'll go right to that movie.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
You can see the text of what the author's saying right alongside, and also all of that text is cataloged and searchable. It's awesome.
I had no idea.
any single thing. Like, let's say you just like this, oh, what does the solo button do again? So search solo button and it'll take you to the part where exactly to the movie where I talk about solo and mute buttons and how to work them in the mixer and all this stuff. So that's really cool. So you have it as your resource, but also if you just go through and watch it and follow along with the exercise files that we've provided, you can expect to not be a pro expert at Logic, but you'll know how to use it. And from there, you can take your own course and practice and go farther along. But it won't be a scary mystery, which it is for some people, because it's the reason why it's so awesome is because it's also so complex. And, it can be a little intimidating at first, but that's the point of this course, is to get you past that so you feel comfortable and you're able to make music.
Or a podcast.
Or a podcast, exactly.
I mean, I think it's incredible that I was able to pretty seamlessly switch from one audio application to another. And if I hadn't mentioned it on the show, I don't think people would have been able to tell, besides the fact that our voices probably sounded better. But other than that, I mean, I just made the switch one day and boom, I was up and running. And, we run a really tight ship over at Cultcast.
Yeah.
And our listeners don't put up with bad sound quality ever. So I would have heard about it if there had been any faux pas. But yeah, I used the course and I was up and running in no time.
Awesome.
And I'm still going through it. I still have a lot to learn. But one of the things I love about Linda, as you know, is you can go back and revisit stuff anytime, just like you said.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize that if you remembered a term but couldn't remember where it was, you could search for it. So you could literally go and revisit that one part that you couldn't remember where it was in the series of videos.
Exactly.
That's really super awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let me ask you this. You have edited movies and you do audio design as well. Is that correct?
That's true. Yeah.
And which application do you prefer for doing that kind of work? Is it Pro Tools or is it Logic, and why?
Yeah, for the editing, I think I mentioned this earlier. Pro Tools is sort of the one, and there's various reasons, and one of them is just that because it kind of is in that world the industry standard. So a lot of the time when I'm working on a movie, I'm working with a team of people, and there are people that if I'm editing sound effects, I have to deliver all my files to the sound effects to the head. Editor, or the I guess you call the person the supervising sound editor. So the workflow with Pro Tools, it's just there's probably many economic and other reasons why it just became that, but that's what we use in that world. But I will say, composers, people that write music to movies are often using Logic, again, because of the ease and flexibility and the MIDI capabilities. So film has people using definitely different applications. So Logic does fit in there, but just in a different style. When I work on movies, I'm mostly working on just the actual sound, like the sound effects, the Foley, the sound design, and I'm using primarily Pro Tools for that.
And you actually have some lynda.com courses that are about editing for film. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
So you have mixing a short film with Logic Pro.
That's right.
Mixing a short film with Pro Tools. So you get to pick your poison there. Mixing a short film with Audition, which is an Adobe product, right?
That's right. Yeah. So we did the same course in all three platforms. So again, like I was saying earlier, like all of these platforms in the end can do the same thing. There's just different ways to use them. So we had an idea to make 3 courses based on these 3 different apps, and the end goal is the same in all of them basically. But yeah, I did those 3 courses, and there's actually going to be a couple more coming up soon in that world for film editing for film, which I'm excited about.
Any other audio courses you want to plug while I got you here?
I do. There's 2 courses that there's one course that exists, and it's called Synth Programming Basics. So if you're into synthesis, which a lot of people are these days, that is, and you're kind of a little, again, you look at a synthesizer, especially a virtual one like the ES2, for example, in Logic Pro. I don't know if you've ever looked at that one, or Sculptor. They're pretty intimidating at first. And so this course is designed to get you to understand what goes into synthesis. We're talking about oscillators, filters, LFOs, all these fun things that just make the craziest sounds you can ever imagine. So there's that one, and that's existing right now. And I just literally last weekend finished recording synth programming beyond the basics.
Oh,
The name of the course. So it's kind of part 2 of the series. So it's sort of once you get familiar with those basic things I just mentioned, now it's like, how do we make like a huge bass line using Native Instruments Massive, or how do we use a vocoder in Ableton Live? So we go through different apps, it's not just app specific. So we use Pro Tools, Ableton, Logic, Native Instruments, and we use a bunch of different stuff to look at synth. But the idea is that, all these synths are actually universal language that you can learn and use in any app. So
I was just going to say, I see iOS apps all the time that have a lot of these concepts built into the keyboards that you see.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
this would definitely help you with those.
Yeah, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking they're application specific, and there is a common language that synths and a lot of the stuff uses. So it's good to know that.
At first, I thought you were preparing me to be the next member of a Devo band. I could get my little Casio guitar and put on my red cap. That's what they used in that band, right? Like those little Casio synths.
Oh yeah,
those are awesome.
They were into the DX7, which is a great old synth, and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, whip it.
Yeah, whip it good. That's my motto in life. Well, hey, Scott, thanks for hanging out. It's been fun chatting with you.
Thank you very much, too. It's been a blast.
And for those interested, if you want to take any of Scott's courses, if you want to check out his Logic Pro 10 course, if you want to learn more about Pro Tools, if you want to learn more about Reason or creating effects with different synth apps, head on over to lynda.com, lynda.com/cultcast. And Lynda is giving our listeners a 10-day free trial. So you have unfettered access to Lynda's entire catalog of courses, including Scott's, and so much more. You can learn all you want for free for 10 days. And you can watch their courses on your iPhone, on your Mac, whatever device you have. Hope you guys enjoyed this chat with Scott Hirsch. Thanks for sticking in till the end. My name is Erfan Elijah, and I will see you guys next time.
Too bad Alex couldn't join.
Irfan. Irfan. It's stupid.
It's the blizzard.
It's the blizzard, Irfan. The blizzard took my internet. It's like, really? How did the blizzard affect
I don't understand. That's what I don't understand either. Is how does the blizzard change it?
How does the blizzard change anything at all?
Cold weather does, but I just think Alex has shitty internet.
I do too. And he just blames on whatever he can that day. Sometimes it's the internet, sometimes it's his roommates. The blizzard stole my internet.